Yeah, we're recording.
Okay, so welcome to our little orchard in Los Ranchos. Yes, we have all kinds of trees here, fruit trees. Something I'm always thinking about is, as every year is getting drier and hotter, there's the Nature Conservancy climate-ready trees listing. And yes, of course we don't read it. Well, if you want to read every page, you're more than welcome to. But there's parts of it that are good as far as explaining, their methodology and stuff. But then, what kind of trees do you want? And there's tables and stuff. And then that's what you can focus on. And there's a table of fruit trees that they have in there. But anyways, I'll take just to get started on the approach that the Greeks would when it comes to the fundamentals, which are, to them, the periodic table is earth, air, fire, and water. So the earth here is about an acre. Some of these old trees right here are about 70 years old. And this area has been under cultivation since more than 200 years, maybe even more than that. As far as the earth, we use a lot of compost that we have in there. We compost, the leaves, the grass, like a lot of people do. Anybody compost here? Okay, all right. And then I've been using chicken manure for composting. I've read different things. I think the best is guano.
Guano.
But that's expensive. And
unless you have a cave.
Yeah. If you live in Carlsbad, I guess you could scoop it up. Or if you live, I guess the best comes from Peru or something like that. But it's very expensive. Other places I've read, maybe it's rabbit. Something to be concerned about that I got from talking to a pecan farmer is he said he stays away from steer manure because it can be very salty. And we don't want to put salt into the ground. We're minimizing that. But whatever manure you do, generally you don't put it right on the tree. Put it in the compost heap, let it break down because it can get hot and it can actually burn, cause damage if you put it directly on the trees. But as you notice, we also get a lot of rabbit manure. Hi. We get a lot of rat manure, and I've read that's very good. So we have a lot of rabbits hopping around here, and they just put a little bit in there. Hi, and your name is?
Rosa.
Rosa, please have a seat. Remember, yeah. I'll give you this one. It's an old one, but it's what you follow along with what I'm talking about. There's a few things that changed, but not much. When it comes to composting, I think it was Heather, you raised your hand, and don't tell me Tanya. Okay, Rebecca, did you? I know you did, Carlos. The challenge with doing with compost is, in order to break down, biological systems need air, they need water, and they need time. Well, here we have plenty of air, but we don't have water. So how do you keep it moist so that it breaks down? I don't know if any of you tried anything. Yeah, Daisy.
I mean, I try to keep it in a city line.
Yeah.
And keep it somewhere that's kind of shady.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got for you.
Controversially, I compost human manure. And humans make an awful lot of moisture that goes into a pile.
Okay.
Combine that with kitchen waste, plus your water from your kitchen sink. Get a lot of water, a lot of heat, cooks out all the bacteria and keeps it moist.
How long do you have to let it sit before you safely use it?
Commercially, you can do it at 6 to 8 months when they're doing windrows. Technically, the piles are okay after 3 or 4 months with bacteria. I let mine sit for 18 months.
Okay, and you're pretty confident it's breaking down any kind of...
Done it for 20 years.
Okay, and you're still
here.
alive. Okay.
Yep.
I use mushrooms
Okay.
to break down, and the mushrooms actually keep a lot of moisture.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah.
And yeah, I cover it, and then lately it's been raining, so it's gotten the moisture that way. If it looks dry on top, I'll give it a moistening with just regular water, tap water.
Yeah, where I grew up in southern New Jersey, it's a swamp in the summer, and plenty of rain. And my dad used to compost. He was a farmer as a kid, and I remember as he got older, he said, "Well," we were joking about it. He said, "Oh, Dad, maybe we'll just throw you in the compost when the time comes." He said, "Yeah, might as well do something good with me. Just stick me in a grave." But anyways, he would put stuff in there. I don't think you're supposed to put in like chicken bones and stuff like that. But anyways, what I've read is that one way to compost it. Who said something about Arizona and New Mexico and Arizona? I think something about the trees. No, we do share a similar environment. And I read something in a Tucson gardening manual about, like you're saying, Daisy, you cover it, or you cover yours. And so I cover mine, and last night I remembered to uncover it before the rain came. And then I remembered this morning to put it back on. I'm doing pretty good with this one. Oftentimes I'll forget to take the covers off when it rains, or I'll take the covers off and the next morning, and then the sun's already cooking on it. But that's a way to keep the moisture in. It blocks off some of the air, so what I do is I just mix it around a little bit. The rain comes, and then I cover it back up again. Takes a little bit longer. We used to have a compost pile back here, like you were saying, Daisy, in the shade. But then I thought, well, I'm glad the compost is nice and shady in the hot sun. I think it'd be a better place for us. So again, with the Greeks, earth, air, fire, water, the air, we all know it's hot and dry. Fire is a growing concern. I lived in California for 25 years, and I've seen, for example, my one sister's house just got torched. She lives in San Diego County, and it was so hot that the only thing left was a chimney, and she had a garage underneath her house. And where the kitchen was, you could just see melted globs of metal, which were her pots and pans and spoons, utensils. They got that hot. It's really amazing. We've had a few fires in the Bosque here, and there were some homeless people that live there, and sometimes they build fires to cook, and it gets out of control. And I think this year there was one time they gave a warning, but they didn't quite do an evacuation. But hopefully it's not, but it could be something that we're going to have to be more and more concerned with about the fires. And what should we do about our trees if we have to protect them? Or do we need to be more vigilant to take off the dead branches? Will that help? Do I need to make sure that when I replace this fence, instead of surrounding my house with firewood, I should surround it with a metal fence or something? These are the different things we should do. We put a metal roof on our house, and hopefully that will help some. Then when it comes to water, that's the big constraint here. Albuquerque is about 9 inches a year. Los Ranchos is supposed to be about 10 and a half. If you walked up the driveway, I think all of you did, you may have seen the rain barrels on the right-hand side. When I moved here in 2017, I said, yeah, let's get some rain barrels, and so we put them in 2018. Does anybody have rain barrels? What's your experience been with them? Anybody?
Mine has frozen, and so the piece at the bottom doesn't work.
Oh.
The piece at the bottom doesn't work.
Okay.
Then all the water goes out. But
Okay.
it slows it down as it comes off the roof, so
Yeah,
it
okay.
has an advantage.
Yeah, it's a good starter solution. I think that learning how to just catch the water is a process in itself, and the rain barrels serve that purpose. And then you find out it's better in the soil, and you start diverting it to different places in the soil. It gives you a little bit of control rather than...
If you see a downspout and then there's a place where you can plant a tree to take advantage of the runoff, that's excellent. I also like the rain barrels because it keeps the moisture away from the foundation. Freezing, that was something we were told when we bought the rain barrels. Don't leave water in there. It could really cause some damage. Daisy, can you?
I was just gonna say, I actually remember to use them.
Oh.
You know, because everything's on drip, and so the rain
Oh,
barrels
okay.
I have to remember to divert the water.
Okay.
But you have to pump it out. That's the thing I didn't like.
Ours are raised, so we just kind of use gravity.
Yeah, mine up to one. It's a single layer of
Oh,
asphalt,
okay.
and if you want to fill your sprinkling can, you can stand around for 20 minutes
Oh.
and wait for it to. And usually the water isn't that high in the barrel to begin with, so there's just no head on it except one barrel. And you can stack them, but I didn't. I put them under the canales. And mine worked under the canals.
Yeah, I've got, mine are all raised a little bit, like yours, Daisy. And there's one on the side that's raised quite a bit, which gives me more pressure. But also, when those things are full, they're very heavy. So I've got, for example, even the small one will hold 200 plus gallons, 8 pounds a gallon. That's 1,600 pounds. That falls on you. It's going to be not the best thing. You're not going to have a good day. So it's something to be careful with. You can bolt it to your house, which is what I think I saw a presentation, somebody recommending that, because it can be a mess. And on the other hand, when they're empty, they can blow away in the wind. We don't get right here. We don't quite get the winds that other parts of the. Okay, and where you live? Okay, and down south you get winds just fly right through there.
Yeah, we're not really
south or west?
So, okay, on Highway 40, okay,
Between here and French.
okay. Anybody else with the rain barrels? First of all, it has to rain.
Yeah.
There was, oh, Kayla, she's new with you. She said she lived at this place called Ampersand. Okay, I didn't hear it until she told me. She said they get all their water from rain. No pumps. I mean, I don't know how they do it. She says every surface has a way to catch the water, and everything is from that. Where is this Ampersand place?
Out towards the Rios and Nazareth area, and
Okay.
it's just kind of off in the middle of nowhere, but
Is it up in the mountains a little bit?
Kind of, yeah.
it's like behind us.
Okay.
Madrid.
Highway 14.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher elevation than here, right? But not really.
Yeah.
Right.
So how they do that with, they do it, and told me about all kinds of cool things they're doing there.
Yeah, it depends on how much collection you have. So at our house, we have like 2,000 gallons of storage, and we
Okay.
just run it off of our sheds, run it off of our house, make sure to keep them clean, and
Keep them
1,000
clean.
gallon tank doesn't blow away.
Oh, you just have one tank.
Oh, I have 2 daisy change 250 gallon tanks
Okay.
in the backyard, and then a 975 in the front, and then several small ones.
Okay. So I've got to listen here. I've got 1,200. You got 2,000.
Yeah.
So the other thing is you can't get mosquitoes. You have to look out for that. I just make sure that for example, it rained a little bit last night. It rained a couple days before. It's probably not going to rain for a while. So tonight I'll put a hose on it. One thing about the rain barrels that I do like, I mean, ours comes out relatively slowly. It's not like a garden hose or something like that. But it's also, to water a tree, you want a nice slow trickle anyway. You want the water to go down, not to go out. So it works pretty well. Sometimes I'll even fill a rain barrel that's empty with water from the well and then let it go out that way. The other things we do are like reclaimed water. Somebody told me this is a real simple thing we did here. It is in Rio Grande on August 14th. I ride my bike. Howdy. I ride my bike over the Sail del Norte Bridge, and I just noticed how bad it was. There's just a trickle this year.
Sorry, I'm late.
This is, someone told me what's your name?
I'm September.
September? Look, September, please have a seat.
Thank you.
This is a real simple thing. I understand from the Water Conservancy or somebody has a kit where you can get a hose to come out for your washing machine and it'll go wherever you want it to go, but you have to drill a hole in your wall. So if you can see here, I got one of these are recycled bins that they have at like Staples or Office Supply or whatever. And then on the bottom I built a little cart, kind of like a go-kart. And so we fill it up with water and then we take it and we'll take it on the front porch or on the back porch and we use it for the ornamental trees. Of course, you don't use this water if you use bleach or any kind of funny stuff like if you were dyeing something or whatever. But we've used it. We get the soap that they tell us is biodegradable, and it's working just fine. And this is something I think Treat Mexico could recommend something like this when people get their trees. Just say need water and you don't want to use all the city water. Or something like this is real simple. Fix all the stuff. You have to remember to empty it though. Otherwise, you'll do the next load, and it'll be a mess. And you also have to make sure that the exit hose stays above the water level when it's full. Otherwise, it'll siphon it back out. And that's a real bummer when you wash your clothes. Think, okay, it's done, and you open up there's a bunch of water in there. Well, it pulls some of the water back out until it can no longer take any more. The other thing is everybody knows about putting a bucket in the shower.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you do it? Rosa, right?
We will, yes.
Okay.
I used to live in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and we had a lot of issues with water, with the water supply there. So, and we had a garden. So we would just like collect the water from the shower and then take it out in buckets. It was a lot of work, but we keep the garden alive with like shower water.
Yeah, we just use it, for example, waiting for the water to get hot. And so they just put it in the bucket, and that'll be about even a gallon. I mean, unless you have one of those heating systems where the water's heated, right there where you need it. Yeah, but if you have the old-fashioned water tank like we do, especially in the winter, it takes a while for the water to get hot. Might as well put it in a bucket, and then the next day, it's work.
Yeah.
Being a tree hugger is work. I don't know what to tell you. It's a lot easier to just let it go down the drain and not worry about this stuff.
Totally.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that we have all throughout New Mexico, and again, I only moved here in 2000. Anyways, there's acequias all through here, and we have one right over here, and then there's a pretty big one that goes transverse right there. Some of those are from before 1800. Some of them may have been done even before the Spaniards came, because I know there's native people obviously all up and down the river, and so before even there was the Mexican Revolution in 1811. Under Spanish colonial rule, a lot of these were dug all through here. And one thing it does, besides in a good year, we can flood in a good year, which this year was definitely not. We can flood irrigate every other week. Flood irrigation is very inefficient. There's much better ways of doing it, but that's how it's been done here, and that's how it's still mostly being done. The other thing that the acequias do is they charge the groundwater and raise the water table. So most people around here have wells, and we put one in not too long ago. When it comes to wells, there is no free water. If you pump water out of a well from the ground, then that's going to make it like a vacuum for more water to come in from the acequias or wherever else. And in some places, there's been so much groundwater pumped out, San Joaquin Valley, California, all along the base of the Rockies, Nebraska, the Dakotas, and Kansas. They've been pumping water out of there. The ground is actually subsiding. And when the ground subsides, all those little spaces where water was get smashed, and it won't have the same capacity if the water ever returns. No, you're shaking. You're familiar with that?
Yeah. We had a sinkhole right in the middle of Albuquerque with water undermining recently, and
oh, really?
I lived in North Florida for a while, and we had huge sinkholes.
And that's from
I had to
ground
take out
table.
houses because people were pumping the groundwater out.
I did read this book. It was recommended to me by somebody that works for the water district in San Diego, and it's called Let There Be Water. Some of the leaders, as far as the technology for reverse osmosis and the best way of using water, has been from Israel. The Israelis came up with this drip system. They came up with the reverse osmosis. And maybe you have to be a water nerd, but I thought it was pretty neat. They say they reclaim 80-90% of their water. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but even if it's 50 or 60, when you think of all the water that the city uses, if we could get even half of it. And a lot of the reclaimed water, like even the sewage system, sewers usually go through, I think, like 3 or 4 stages. They'll put it through 2, maybe 3 stages, and then they just put it back into the ground and let the, percolating through the soil do the final cleaning, and then it also recharges the groundwater. But if we were doing that, then we have to make sure that we probably have to have some ideas about what sort of things are we putting down the drain. We have to be a little more careful about that. We have a well. Does anybody here else have a well on their property?
My partner has a well.
Okay.
Let's see, 60 feet.
Okay.
Which is good. It comes off the Mount Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of runoff at Mount Taylor.
Right. And it's I don't think he's never had a water situation, but I think now the neighbor down the road has somewhere around that area. They have to go 100.
That's what a lot of these agricultural companies are doing in California and in the Midwest. They keep going down further and further and further and further. But again, the land will subside. This well goes down 140 feet, and the pump is at 80 feet. Our neighbor has theirs only down about 20 feet. The water table's up here. The other thing that's important when it comes to growing things is shade. And we had a pretty good chat about this. Who came here on Tuesday? I'm trying to remember his name. He's the No, Tim came Tuesday morning. Thursday, who came Thursday?
Wasn't here Thursday.
No, I'm just trying to think of who the possible names could have been. Jeremy, Joshua, Jason. I think it was
Jason.
Yeah, Jason, yeah. Yeah, Jason was here. And we were gotten to the shade, and he started talking about he grows a lot of vegetables. Does anybody here, you can see the shades over the little courtyard we have here? Does anybody else have any experience with those?
Shade sales.
Yeah, shade sales. Anybody? How do they work for you?
Hit or miss.
Okay.
I use a lath.
A what?
L-A-T-H-E.
Okay.
A lath, the thin pieces, strips of wood.
Oh, like kind of like a pergola or something like that. Yeah.
I have
Like a trellis or something.
So it makes a shade structure
Yes.
over my tomatoes.
Yeah, because obviously we can get too much sun on them. They need the right amount, but not too much.
But I
use
didn't get the distance correct, because I started out with too little sun. So now I've pulled some of the boards out,
Okay.
and I've got more, and I'm not sure if I'm there yet.
Okay, it's something you'll be tuning all along.
Yeah.
Yes. So without the shades that we have, for example, even though that's on the north side of the house, a lot of the ornamental stuff would just be torched, or we'd have to use so much more water. They work really well. The rain goes through, but it sometimes puddles and goes through in select places. Hail does not go through. So if you have a hailstorm, a couple times I've come out and they're just sagging because there's all that ice in there, so it just starts knocking off the top. And then here for this orchard, as you can see, the carport, and then there's these big cottonwoods here. They start giving the shade in the late afternoon, even in the summertime. And I believe that helps a lot. The thing that I always thought was neat, and I wanted to do, but I got the wrong solar panels, was something like this. And I just talked about it a little bit the last couple of times. I've read more and more about agrivoltaics, where for your shade, instead of having your slats, you would put a couple of solar panels with the right space between them. You get electricity anyways from it. And I think it's the Pewaukee Pueblo, they put in this big solar panel array. And they said, well, we got all this grass growing around there and it's going to shade them. So they bring goats in. You have to watch the wires, make sure the goats...
buffalo.
Huh?
They have buffalo too.
Well, maybe they brought the buffalo in to chew on it, or goats. They brought in livestock.
Yeah.
And the livestock can put the shade under there, and they can keep the grass from growing too high. So there's a lot of...
Totally off the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're, I think the only pueblo in New Mexico right now that is completely off the grid. There's only like probably about less than 400 people that live there. And they sell their energy as well. So
I'm sure in the
they'll
summer...
always have credit on their
On their P&M
electric
bill,
bill,
huh?
yeah, electric bill. It's not P&M. P&M is majority just in this
Okay.
area. Yeah, they have like a, we have Continental Divide, we don't even have P&M.
Okay.
So it's a co-op.
Okay, yeah, I remember them talking about the co-op, but it was this big, it was about this, at least as big as this, is where they had the solar arrays. And they're pretty happy about it. I used to belong to this group, New Mexico 350, which is about global warming, and they went out there and looked at that. Yeah.
It's I don't know about trees, but should be a combination between a tree that gives you shade and because he likes sun and underneath one that likes shade.
Well, that's how things work in nature often, right? Right, if you go to a jungle, you'll see there's a canopy and then there's trees underneath it. As a matter of fact, they've evolved and they even have a different color because they get different wavelengths of light. So absolutely, so that's one way to plant
There
things.
should be a combination that you can say, oh, this tree goes with this one, so
I don't know if that's in the Nature Conservancy book. I don't know if they mentioned that or not. It's Daisy.
I was just gonna piggyback and say, I'll use annuals to create shade. Like, if I have like rows of tomatoes, which get really tall or trellis, and I'll put like basil or things that need more shade like in between them.
Okay.
Or use like corn or amaranth or even like calitas that get really tall.
That's one of the strategies in a video that I put on Canvas about these mass tree planting activities. One is going on in India, and they're kind of making incentives for farmers to grow timber, and they're growing them on the edges or outsides of their or in rows within the growing bed or growing area. That gives them timber and then also shade for things like turmeric, other cash crops that are quicker to yield. And then like after 70 years, that generation gets a big influx from the money from the timber trees.
Harvesting, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the shade is an important thing to
Yeah.
keep in mind. How do we
Yeah.
put the shade, what kind of trees really like the shade with
My
us?
grandmother, and she used to have a garden like this when we were growing up. And she used to have, I come from El Salvador. We have a avocado tree,
Uh-huh.
and on the side part, lemon or oranges or tangerines. But she used to do around the edge of the trees and like a drain. So when it rained, it covered those drains, so they were soaking the water. So they were very juicy. So I don't know if that will work here because it doesn't rain that often.
It doesn't rain that often, but I mean, we can do something to more efficiently get what rain there is.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And I know that's a strategy in growing coffee too, is having a canopy cover, and then the coffee will grow in the mixed shade and sun of kind of almost a forest.
They do, for cocoa and coffee, they do mostly like syntropic.
That water really
If you
fast.
go to San Juan County, they have a lot of water from the San Juan River. Those farmers are set up, Heather, they have everything is piped. They just turn the water on and they have the pipes that go along, like most of them grow corn, so they have their rows and the little flats, and they just open up the flats, in water like that. And they have no problem with water whatsoever over there.
I'm sure it's a more efficient way of doing it.
Yeah.
They're used for
Okay. And furrow is what it's called?
furrows when they're doing it in long rows.
Okay.
And they got like a mound or some raised portion
Right.
where they're growing the crop. So
And then
the
they-
water comes from the side.
And they probably do hopefully at night or in the early morning. In the middle of the day.
They do it whenever they want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they can. I mean,
Okay.
they have no problem with water. We've seen some really like 15 acres, 20 acres, of corn, their peach tree. They have some of them
Like
have
an
a lot
orchard,
of
yeah,
orchards.
small orchard, yeah.
Yeah. It used to be the old Nappy, the Navajo. They have a business in farming, and before they used people's ancestral land, so they weren't using it, and so they put all these systems of all the infrastructure up, and then they started getting bigger, so they moved it towards the eastern part of Navajo Nation, and then now it's on the southern part, and it's huge. They have a big production out there.
Are they using well water? Or you're not
They're using water from the San Juan River.
sure? Okay.
And they have, it's piped all over it. In Fruitland, in Shiprock, there's all these little different towns there.
Yeah.
They all utilize, they are really, their farming association, they have a great farming association, and they bring a lot of people in, like from the universities in Colorado and Mexico. Mexico State's there a lot. We did a lot of soil testing there. Now they're requiring conservation plan with all these farmers. If they're not utilizing their plots, and then they're gonna take it back.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they'll start growing on it.
But this is all in the Navajo Nation?
Right,
Okay.
up in Farmington.
Yeah, on the west side of the state.
Yeah, and that, getting water, because I know that the monsoon was really bad on the western part of the
They
state
didn't
this year.
hardly get
Yeah,
any
they
rain. We
rarely
were
got
down
any
there with
rain.
rain here, and they weren't getting anything up there. And I'm like, well, they really don't need the rain now.
The rain coming in the mountains and coming down.
Right.
here.
But this, I think the last time we got that harsh rain, they got it. But mostly they don't.
And the eastern part of the state has record rain this year, parts of it. Cary had an outrageous amount of water. My stepdaughter lives in Gourley, just off of Highway 25 on your way to Las Vegas. And the Pecos River was flowing just, I don't know about now, but I know when I was there at the
It
end of
still
July, it
is.
was flowing incredibly. Yeah. So there's been spots that have been getting the water. Here we're a little bit low for the monsoon. I think we're a little bit below average. We had a terrible snowpack this year. It was awful, awful, awful. Let's hope this next snowpack is better. But whatever, we have to change. I like that Nature Conservancy document. I looked at the tables and I realized I don't think I'm ever going to buy any more apple trees. They take up too much water. I like my peaches, but you know, I can't really put in too many more. It's more going to be, they recommend apricots in there, figs, and pomegranates. We tried a pomegranate this year, but it died, but not completely. You ever have
I
something
think it
die?
might come back. Mine died back the first 3 years after I planted it, and now it's just taken off.
Your pomegranate? By died back, what do you
Sometimes
mean?
they
Died back
stay.
all the way to the ground in
Yeah,
the
they'll
wintertime,
stay.
and then came back. Yeah,
Oh.
Okay, so maybe that's the way it does it.
yeah,
And
yeah. I had a jujube do that. Pomegranates do that. Figs do that. Like, you know,
But then after it gets really established.
they tend to do better. Yeah.
So we put one in last year. It was doing okay, and then it just kind of died. And I was about to pull the whole thing out, and my wife noticed, look, there's a little green sprout there at the very bottom. And so we're going to continue to water it,
Yeah.
and hopefully next year it comes back. Well, pomegranates are climate ready. Figs are climate ready. They say apricots are. It's in the document, and I think everybody has access. It used to be on the Tree New Mexico website. That's where I downloaded it from.
It may
And
still be.
Tanya, did you say there's a new version coming out or something?
Someone told me that there should be a new version. I think maybe, is it Bonnie at the city or
Oh,
forestry?
yeah, maybe
I
so.
think she said it was a little outdated and the person who made it isn't there anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and that because there have been more changes in climate than anticipated when that research happened, that they may need to do an updated list, because some of the trees that are on it that have been planted out in the last few years are just not doing very well. But I don't know if they're actually working on
I
it or
think
not.
the date on the one that, the most recent one I got was 2012.
Yeah.
So for sure, things have changed.
Oh,
since then.
yeah.
They had one published from 2018, I believe. That's the one that I had access last year.
Yeah.
And so I
Maybe
know
that's what
they,
happened.
they have like meetings and conversations about those afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
Because it also listed the pecan trees as being climate ready. And they survive the heat, but I don't know how good they are with the water. My understanding,
There's got to be something about pecan trees that I don't understand, because the name of one of the pecans is Illinoisensis. It's Caria, Illinois. So it grows, and they do grow in Illinois.
yeah.
So there's, I don't know what the freeze thing is. It's got to be varietal. It's got to be the type of pecan that you're trying to grow.
I don't
There's
know.
some at the garden center, really, really old one. It drops pecans all over my bed, my flower bed.
And there's tons and
And
tons
they're
of,
good pecans, they're paper shells.
yeah, there's tons of pecans down in the Las Cruces area.
Right, but that's an area that's sort of designed to grow
Yeah,
pecans.
they say they grow
Yeah.
well in Bosque Farms, but the water table's also really high there too.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm confused about. That was in the, I've read other places that pecans are not water efficient.
Right.
As opposed to a fig or a pomegranate.
Yeah.
So that was in there. Oh well, I'll see. There's people putting it together that know more than I do, so
Yeah.
I'll just read it. That's about all I had to anybody have anything else to add, please? It's mostly, we're supposed to be from each other, and I really appreciate people speaking up on what their experiences have been. Okay. If you want to, I can show you a few things here on with the trees. There's one in particular with this apple tree I want to show you. These are ash trees. And they are really pretty in the they burn ash and
Yeah.
you can see this one here starting to change color. They will be purple in another couple weeks. Oh, they're very pretty. Yeah. And then these will be bright.
Yeah. This is a compound leaf. And see how they grow across from each other?
But
right here, this is what they'll look like in a couple of weeks.
¿Son familia?
Sí, ella es mi mamá. Esta es Rosa, Eddie.
Mucho gusto. ¿Dónde vive?
En Tampa.
Por ahí.
Ah, de verano.
Sí, en Guaymama.
Oh,
Que es
we are
como-
very close.
sí.
Ajá, tienen bastante.
Whole majority of them off. Yeah, but it broke at the branch inside. It just got really tense, like the whole branch.
Yeah, yeah. And it's heartbreaking. You're thinking, oh, there's all right.
I'm thinking, well, if I lift this up like that, it'll go back together.
So were you able to?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So there's the pruning of the branches so they don't get so long in the first place that you do in the, generally speaking, late winter, early spring. And there's all kinds of videos about, for example, your prune, your plum trees or your peaches. Go ahead and look and see what the recommendations are. And you can look at two different videos and you'll get two slightly different slants, but I promise you they're going to tell you if you need to prune
So
every year.
since that branch broke off, would you want to, just to propagate, would you want to graft it? Would that be graftable?
I don't know. I don't know. I've never tried grafting.
I've only grafted.
Might as well try. You got nothing to lose, right?
Because I've only grafted little, like not bigger than your wrist, really,
Right,
but
right.
usually smaller. But you can try.
Well, yeah,
It has
obviously.
to have soft tissue still, not always
Yeah, I
dead.
think so.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's when it's like a marriage happens.
Right, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean.
You might be able to graft into that spot, like along the edge
Yeah,
of it.
but putting a new, that fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to maybe is there a jagged cut left where the branch was?
It
Wanna
just like
soften it
broke
up.
off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty clean cut.
Yeah.
If it was all jagged, you'd want to go ahead and
Right.
get it saw and dip it and get it nice and clean. But yeah, I've had it happen to me. One on just this year on this big apple tree, but it was I saw all the apples, but it was way up there, and my wife and I have agreed we're not going to climb a ladder and break our neck over a couple of apples. Okay. So all the other trees that we planted, we're trying to keep them lower. My wife and I are both efficiently sized. We're not short, we're efficiently sized. And so we don't want them to get too tall. We want to be able to trim them. We want to be able to collect the fruit. We want to be able to put nets over them if they're peaches or whatever. So we're keeping that light. With those big apples, there was one just had so many apples on it, and I was here. I was messing around with something else in here. Oh, yeah. And those apples are gone. You're just starting to ripen also. But Rebecca, like you were saying, there's the pruning of the tree, then there's the thinning of the fruit. And if you have an apple tree, everything I've read and seen is that if you have more than, if you have a cluster of apples, like 2 or 3,
Yeah.
make sure there's only one. And some people say they should be 6 inches apart, and there's a couple reasons for it. One, that way you'll have fewer apples, but there's several reasons. One, the fewer apples, but they'll be bigger and they'll be more juicy. 2, the tree will be more inclined to produce fruit the following years. Some trees you'll get a bountiful harvest and then you won't the next year. Everything I've read is that if you thin that, so there's not as many apples, you'll have a better chance of having some next year. The other is, the branches will break if there's too many of them. And the other is it's hard to do pest control. If you're going to do some kind of spray like this, well, where they're up against each other, this coffee moth will go into one apple and into the next one that's right next to it. And they'll just keep eating. So you're better off just having one apple. When it comes to plums, I'm not sure. That's again something to look up. With this peach tree, the peach trees you've had on some years, let me see, the blossoms come out in about April or so, and then by May I'll start seeing, in early June I'll start seeing them. Sometimes I have taken off half of them easily, even at that stage. And the idea is, I know that tree can't support all of them. I mean, you just look at it, you see tons and tons of them.
Right.
It's like, there's no way this tree, there's no way these branches are going to be able to support that. Let me take them off before it puts any more energy into it. You can even pickle those little peaches because they don't have a core yet. You can put them in salt water. Yeah, they don't. If they do, I pickle them and it tastes like pickles. But they have. I picked them off, and it makes a lot of difference. And then in some years, of course, we have these frosts. Heather, you have apricots, you said?
Yes.
Okay. How's your apricots doing?
They're great, yeah. And then we got the peaches, like
The apricots are usually the first ones to blossom, and I've noticed they have been the most vulnerable to frost. And so some years, even this old apricot tree here will give, literally a truckload of apricots, and other years a handful, other years nothing. Nothing at all. Frost is kind of- Yeah, yeah. Okay. The other thing when it comes to, go back to the pruning is, you have 80 trees? You must have a lot of tools.
Yeah, between myself and my dad and my brother, yeah, we've got a lot of tools.
Okay, because you need good tools. If you just have one or two trees, maybe you don't need to buy top of the line, but I remember as a kid my dad telling me cheap tools are no bargain because they don't last. And I've noticed that with a lot of the gardening tools. For example, there's an arborist, Evan Baker. I know Carlos is trying to get a hold of him. He sometimes works at Tree New Mexico. He recommended this brand Marvin for the pole saw. And then these loppers here, the thing that I've been hearing lately is that you should disinfect your tools before you use them. Yes. I'm sorry? Yeah, without isopropyl. It's a relatively new thing, and I don't know if it's necessary to do it if I'm just using from one tree to another in my orchard, because I'm assuming maybe it's already spread. I don't know. Definitely for Tree New Mexico, Carlos called me up and I went to the JCC one time, and another time Kelly had me go to a couple different places where they grow fruit. I definitely would wipe them down then. My wife and I wipe our tools down now. I don't know if it's necessary, but sure it isn't hurting anything. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you go from one place to another. And I use my reciprocating saw. Or, again, if you just have a couple trees, it might not be worth it to buy that. But there's even this thing I got it.
Yep.
These things are great.
For pruning small branches?
Yeah. And even though I have this, I sometimes have to use this to get in the little places to get the one. And these are the same blades that Pete used. And when they get sharp, you can go ahead and put that in the recycle bin and get a new blade. It's sharp. So this has come very handy. Any comments about your experiences with pruning?
I haven't burned my casting through the pruning. I do that.
Okay.
I grafted a little, or cut out dead branches.
Why do you graft? What do
And
you
I thought it was fun. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I had 2 apple trees. I got a Jonathan apple tree that was found for $20 from trees to the southwest.
Uh-huh.
It needs another tree to pollinate with it, so I bought a Red Delicious and just grafted them together, thinking that might help them fruit better. We'll find out.
Oh, it's
Both
relatively
kinda small.
recent?
Yeah, like 5 years old, so.
Okay. A lot of this is just experimenting and see what happens and what
Yeah.
works. And what might work for one place and one group of people might not work for you or whatever. It's a lot of trial and error. You may have noticed that we have some white paint on the trees. Does anybody else do that? Marissa, did you ever come Oh, the lime? Lime like chalk, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, mine, yeah.
Yeah, lime. That's what I used to see. For example, they do that in Italy, they do that in Greece. They do it in a lot of tropical countries.
Yeah, they do that.
And why do you do that?
Couple reasons. The reason I heard for here is that, as you know, we will sometimes in February get a warm day. And so you'll see on this tree, we'll walk over to it. The southern part of the tree is exposed to the sun. It's in February, and the tree's saying, oh, it's time to get things moving. So the juices will start flowing. And then that night, the temperature will drop. And there's moisture in there, and the moisture expands and cracks. So it's a way to reduce that. The other things I've heard is it discourages insects, especially boring insects. And ants? Okay. So don't have hormigas going up and down and getting leaves. So I don't know how well that works, but I've read that it'll discourage the boring of boring insects. I don't mean, boring insects going holes. Yeah. So there's inches insects are cool. I mean, it's amazing what they do. But I don't like them destroy the trees. So it does that. The other thing is, I know in the summertime I feel a lot better with the colored shirt on and dark color. And so, does it help keep the tree a little cooler? All I know is that it doesn't hurt. I put it on there and it hasn't hurt a thing. There was a recommendation. You did have a session with Marissa
I
Thompson.
think she said she did like the temperatures on the trunks of the trees change to different colors.
Okay.
But I don't
Oh,
know.
she does all kinds of stuff. I mean, she's obviously a true scientist.
Yeah.
And she's even doing some stuff with organic sparkles.
She said glitter.
Glitter, yeah, glitter.
You could use
Like the light.
you could use mica too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a bag of mica and maybe throw that into some, I don't know, make it sticky somehow.
Or you put it in the paint.
Put it in the paint.
Might do that because the paint's slowly going to work. You might have some glitter. Yeah. But again, I know that in the summertime I almost never wear a black shirt. I wear them in the fall and the winter. So it doesn't hurt. I have the recommendation I got from Marissa when I had the classes that you're having now. But obviously she's moving on and coming up with new stuff, and so she's now bringing that up, and that's wonderful. And it is latex paint, interior latex paint. Get the cheap stuff. You don't need to spend big money on it. Cut it in half with water, and then you paint it on the trees. And we talked about thinning. And I just wrote ahead and wrote down some of the trees that I have here. I only have 35. You got 80. I think I now have about 38. And I think I have 40. So what do you do when you have all that fruit? I mean, do you sometimes have truckloads of apricots or peaches?
They're very young. This is the first year we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have so much you don't know what to do with. Okay. So obviously you eat them. The other thing is the homeless shelters can take them. You can show up with some fruit, you know, so they'll make pies out of it or whatever. You can freeze it. I don't know how much freezer space you have. You can dehydrate it. Does anybody dehydrate the food? Yeah. And Kayla, who worked at Ampersand, I think she was there for a year, said they have a shed for drying fruit. And they just have trays of fruit. They put it in this shed, and the air just naturally circulates through. And obviously it's hot here, and so they get a lot. Last year, one of the students said you can do it in your car. You know, park. The kind of thing you're not supposed to do with a dog or anything like that. You park the car in the sun, and I've tried it, and it worked. And you get a fruit, you get like a pizza pan, or you get a metal pan. You put it in your car, and the sun comes in, and it'll really, dry it out a good bit. But then on top of it, I have a fruit dehydrator, but I only had to use the fruit dehydrator half as much, and it got it pretty dry. So I saved a lot of electricity by doing it that way. Preserved jellies, and then we have an apple press. So this grinds up some apples, and then we have an apple press inside. You go like this, and it comes down and make lots of apple cider. And we have a family that lives nearby. They have a bunch of little kids, and we put tarps down and we shake the trees, and little kids get out with the apples, and they like running around and making it. And their little tummies swell up as they drink all the apples. It's really a lot of fun to do that. So, anybody else about what they do with your fruit after you get it?
I'm there with community.
Okay.
We have religious ceremonies, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we just donate it.
So it doesn't go to waste.
No.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, Sam, and then you guys probably have heard of it, but it's for folks that can't manage all their fruit. There's a group called Food is Free.
Yeah.
They'll come harvest your fruit for you. Give it away.
They'll even harvest it for you.
They'll come
correct?
harvest it, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they came to Laguna during COVID,
Nice.
and they had squash and pumpkins delivered both to Laguna and Acoma Pueblo. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Yeah. And then you get on the volunteer list because they always put out information if you want to go when they go out. Someone's like they will come here, to your place and bring people with them, and they take all your stuff.
Okay. Sweet.
When I lived in Virginia, there was a horse farm.
Look at the way it grows all this alfalfa and stuff for his horses. And then we can open it up and we can flood here. I only need a couple hours. He goes 12, 14 hours of flooding.
And you have to have permission for that?
Yeah, we have a thing called, we call him the ditch guy. And we text us, says, okay, you guys can go from this time to this time. So this one, Rebecca, for example, this one you can see this is long and spindly. And this is just not going to work. I'm going to have to cut this back. I'm going to wait until the spring to do it. But in this winter, I'll take some pictures of it and see what it looks like. And then next spring.
So how far are you going to cut it back? Right here? You'll cut it here?
I think so.
Yeah, that's where I would think.
I'm thinking of something like that. Yeah, obviously this is too far out.
Yeah.
So somewhere about here. And then here I'm going to look for a central leader and which one do I want to keep. This is just, I mean, I'm glad it's doing well. It's the first year I had it. But it is just long and spindly, and this is just, this won't work. It's going to, also in the wind, when they're this long, they just get ripped all over the place.
For how long
Yeah.
will you keep the stake? I mean, the support that you were doing for
I've been told to do it for only about a year, the first year.
Yeah.
You're supposed to keep it loose so it can, you're not supposed to constrict it. And you're supposed to use stockings. And so there's another one over there, is an apricot. Rebecca, I also planted them here, since I'm right next to the acequia. In a couple years, those will get there. But I'll probably take this off. I've been told that a tree needs to feel the wind. It needs to be just back and forth. Kind of like they tell us, and especially us with our bones, we need to have some weight-bearing exercises as we get older, and myself especially, I have bad bones. In order to keep them strong, you have to use them. Any questions? Anybody?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You guys are making these cool.
No, I don't.
It's perfect. Yeah, they're really
They're so
stunning. I
symmetrical.
mean, not very thoughtful to you and your trees, but
No. I don't know who's doing that.
Yeah.
This has been a very stressful summer because of reduced watering on our tree. You've had it as well? Your trees are stressed?
Well, we have a well we pumped out of too, but yeah.
Yeah, we have a well, but I don't want to just keep pumping and pumping and pumping. And I have my hoses here, and after the sun goes, well, we're going to go to global turkey. You going to that too?
I want to go. I have a birthday
Okay.
party.
The
Going
global
on.
turkey's at the Civic Center, and I've gone other years, and they've had like 10 or 12 bands. This year, there's only 4.
It's only one day.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
It lasts till when?
it's the last year.
Oh, really?
Have you gone to previous ones? Did you, Rose?
Yeah, I have.
Last year. Yeah. and
It's
it was
fun.
pretty cool.
It's great. Years ago, they
I
would
like
have,
it in the museum. They
Yeah.
had like, it was like very nice. They had bands there. That was on Friday. They did Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think. Now it's just today.
and they have bands from all over the
And it
world.
was pretty, from
They'll
Japan.
have bands from Japan, or it could be Madagascar, or Kazakhstan, or,
Mexico.
yeah, all kinds of places, and it's all different music. But this year, which is the last year, bummer.
It's the last year for a lot of things. The state fair, the powwow. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
The gathering of
Gathering of Nations. What's up, Albuquerque? What's going on?
I think some of it's federal funding too.
Oh, federal funding.
No, but I heard it was, the Global Turkey was about some money issues, especially because they had this partnership with the museum,
Okay.
where they were hosting, and now there is a new person in the museum that they just want to charge them a lot, and
Okay.
it's like not sustainable. But also, like, it seems like the Civic Plaza is not the best place for the thing because it's so big and people is dispersed, so you don't get the energy, the vibe that you
It's better
want.
at the National Hispanic Museum. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, for example, I work in the schools, and I don't do it for the money. They pay me a small amount, but the federal budget was slashed. Yeah, they cut a lot of stuff from the federal budget.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to get political in these things. Ugh.
I feel you every day.
Oh, it could be this. This is
It's a bug, tent
caterpillar.
tent caterpillar, yeah.
So they'll attach, and these little strings come down. You see a worm, and they will eat on. Maybe that's one thing, but I also see all these flies here.
I think trees full of them. So,
Yes.
I was wondering.
The year I moved here in 2017, they were everywhere. You'd walk along the acequia, and there'd just be all these things hanging down. But I don't know. Well, maybe I need your praying mantis to come and eat the bugs. Yes.
Dragonfly.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes.
got
Yes.
both the grasshoppers.
And it's more of a farming community than Albuquerque, so, yeah.
Cool, y'all.
Okay.
You want to get together for a photo since I have the camera here?